YouTube, I just have this message for one person in particular, and the overarching message is to the world. Mark Minard, shut the fluck up. Please hear me when I say this. Shut the fluck up. I will elaborate further on this message in the video. YouTube, what's going on? I hope everybody is good. I hope everybody had a good day. Tuesdays are normally my light days, so I was able to have a light day. And I was just so anxious to hurry up and speed home to get to this video. But I hope everybody's weekend was solid. And to just plug some stuff I recently did on the Cut Talk 525 podcast. Please go check out the video I did with my guy, Rod LaFleur. I broke it up in two parts because I know him from back in the day in terms of basketball. So we talked about his basketball career and just his upbringing. And then the second part was about his catering business and him cooking. So please, it will help me out and it will help him out to hear his story. Is if y'all just go tap in with that interview and check that out. And also the interview I did with my guy, David Lopez. Me and him actually have basketball history too. We played at the same college. So we was able to talk about that. And then just his rap career. He raps too. So please check out those two interviews. Really it's three. It's two with Rod, but it's one interview just broken up into two parts. And then it's one with David. So if you could check out those interviews, man, that will help me out a lot. That will help the channel out a lot. So yeah, man, I would appreciate that. And again, I hope everybody is good and hope everybody is blessed. So now that is out the way, it is time to get to business. So I don't know when the interview happened, but this last week, Billy Carson, who owns the company Forbidden Knowledge, was able to get on an interview or get on a debate platform with a gentleman who's a scholar, a biblical scholar by the name of Wes Huff. And if you don't know who Billy Carson is, I feel like Billy Carson has become infamous, for lack of a better word, in the Christian space just because of some of the things he said against Christianity. He doesn't believe in Christ. He doesn't believe in God in the way that we do. So he's made a lot of claims about the falsehood of Christianity. He says he does believe in God, but just not the God of the Bible. He says the gods of the Bible are Enlil and Enki. He said that when Christians say Jesus, they're really saying Hail Zeus. He said, what other claims did he say? He said that Jesus may even be an alien. The Anunnaki is a heavy topic in his discussions. He believes in the holy gospel of the 12 disciples. He uses that a lot in his rhetoric. He said that it's a lot of stuff that he has said that contradicts the foundational elements of what Christians believe in, to sum it up. I could be here all day just saying some of the stuff that Billy Carson has said about Christianity on major platforms. So as a Christian myself and just listening to some of his information, you always wanted to see somebody who was well equipped enough to debate him. Because one of Billy's topics is he says so much stuff and so much information is hard to decipher all of it at one time and to know what's true and what's not true. And he can make you look silly, if you're not sharp in certain aspects of history and theology. So I personally always wanted to see him sit down with a Christian who was a scholar and who was well versed in biblical studies and just history. And he ran into that with Wes Huff. So it's almost like you got a bully on the block who's been terrorizing all the kids in the community. Then you finally have a kid who moves to the block, who is actually a stand-up kid, a good kid, but who could fight and who is big enough to combat the bully. And you want to see these two battle and throw down because you feel like the bully can represent and speak up for the kids who aren't necessarily strong enough to speak up for themselves. So I know as a Christian, I was just eager to see like, okay, bet he's finally going to sit down with somebody who's well versed and can actually understand and pick through all the information that he gives. So this is where Mark Minard comes in. And I'm going to say this about Mark. I don't have a negative or ill will towards anybody. And like I actually did a little bit of research on Mark Minard. And just from what I read about him, he seemed like a good guy and has his own company. I'm going to actually read the vision statement that is on his website, just so you know my heart and you know where I'm coming from. This is not a video to attack you per se, but this is a video to say sometimes when you get into a space where you might not be as well versed and as knowledgeable as the other two people that are here, sometimes it's best to keep quiet and let them talk. Especially if, like I said, you're not as well versed and people have been longing to see Billy have a conversation with somebody on the same level, if not higher than he is when it comes to this stuff. And in your position as a moderator is to keep quiet. That's where I'm coming from, and I'll elaborate more. But I want to just read about what you got on your website to know my heart and actually know that I think this is solid, just the stuff you've been able to do. So from overcoming jail at the age of 17 to building his own company at age 16 in the peak of the 2007-2008 recession, Mark Minard is the CEO and owner of Dreamshine, which proudly serves individuals with developmental disabilities. Salute. For 13 years and counting, Mark is a worldwide speaker, best-selling author of leadership and personal development books, including The Story of You, Transforming Adversity into Adventure, Taking Your Dreams to the Next Level and Beyond, 16 Reasons Why Your Business Sucks. That's tough. How to Be Freaking Awesome at Every Level of Your Business, Leadership, Finance, and Build Your Own Dream Team, hitting 4 million downloads and counting. Mark is the host of the world-famous Elevating Beyond podcast, ranked in iTunes the top 100. Mark is a husband, father of 5. Mark's just an ordinary dude with an extraordinary faith, believing that all things are possible. So salute to him. He don't run around seeming like he doesn't seem like a bad guy. He seemed like a genuine guy. And he also mentioned that he's new to the faith. So to cut Mark some grace, Mark befriending Billy might not have hit the same as to somebody who's been a Christian all their life and comes in contact with Billy. Mark might not view Billy the same way I view Billy. I've been a Christian all my life. And when people speak against the faith and say certain things that they really don't back up, you want to see those people feet held to the fire and have to answer for some of the things they say. And it's a whole bunch of people like me too who want to see this debate happen. Not to beat Billy up or, bring harm to Billy, but eventually, as a Christian, man, you want to get Billy to recognize that, you know what, the stuff I was saying actually wasn't true. And I need to repent. And I need to study this. And I need to learn more about Jesus Christ. Because it's clear as day, the stuff I was saying wasn't accurate. and you pray for that man, and hopefully one day he can come to Christ. That's what you want as a believer. And this conversation that took place could have been a stepping stone to see that happen. Because as a Christian, you want to defend the faith. And people who speak against the faith, you want to confront them and sit down and hold their feet to the fire and make them stand on what they say. And Wes, shout out to you. Wes was the perfect tool to do that. So as the debate starts, the first thing that they talked about was the Sinai Bible and how the Sinai Bible doesn't mention the crucifixion. And Wes actually debunked that and said the Codi Sinaiticus was where the actual text Billy was talking about, and that text actually does mention the crucifixion. And then Billy tried to, swerve his way around that and said, oh, I got the text confused. I meant the Gospel of Barnabas. And it was just a lot of, Wes really put his feet to the fire and made him stand on all the claims he was making about, I'm not going to say all the claims, but this was the first time I ever seen anybody confront Billy and really make him stand on some of the things that he was saying. In the interview, I feel like it was going pretty good. And you could tell Wes was a very knowledgeable guy when it came to the text, when it came to theology. Even what blew me away with Wes was how much he knew in terms of like what Billy was talking about, in terms of like the Enuma Elish and just some of the stories that Billy was saying that like the book of Genesis was a carbon copy of the Enuma Elish. And Mark broke down the Enuma Elish very thoroughly, and I was impressed with this guy. So as we getting towards like the end of the interview, or let me rewind. There were times towards the interview where just Mark just felt like he had to interject himself into the interview just to say something. And the first time he did it, I thought he was just trying to be funny, and he basically said I injected myself just to try to sound smart. And I'm like, oh, cool. He seemed like a funny guy. He just want to have input. But he gonna let these two talk. Because at the end of the day, people came to see Billy Carson debate with a Christian. That's what we came to see. No disrespect to Mark, but nobody is here for you. We here to see Billy speak to an actual Christian scholar. Like we've been foaming at the mouth to see this. But like I said, with Mark being a fairly new convert and not really understanding just the layers of it, I don't think he understood the moment. Again, that's why he constantly felt, especially towards the end of the interview, he had to interject his views. Just he said that he didn't feel the strongest and the best about just some of the texts from the Old Testament, and it's just hard to, get through, and just it's tough stuff to get through. And I'm gonna say this, Mark, the points he was trying to make actually weren't bad points, but it's like, bro, understand the moment. We are here to see these two talk. And like the crazy thing was Billy was saying that like Wes was doing little stuff to like interrupt him and not. And Mark were like that. I guess they were working together to interrupt him and not let him speak. Really, like, and I'm not gonna have this video be so much about Billy, because I think suing people that's just corny. But really, Mark helped you out, because towards the end of the interview, when I feel like Wes was really starting to cook, you interjected in and broke that man's like points up to where he couldn't get a point off. And it's like, Mark, please shut the fuck up. You're messing up the interview. Like you supposed to be the moderator, not the third person on the panel in the debate. And it just blew me. And it just made me think about like America in a bigger sense. I think one of the problems we have as people is we don't know how to shut the fuck up. There are situations when you're supposed to talk, you're supposed to let your thoughts be heard. That is a fact. You're supposed to Speak out, especially when wrong is being done. You're supposed to speak out and you're supposed to take a stand. Like, you're supposed to let your voice be heard. Don't get me wrong. But there are also times when you have people in a room with you who are more knowledgeable than you and have info to give you. It is your job to shut the fluck up. This is going to be a very controversial statement I make right now, but hear me out and hear my heart. One reason I'm with my wife, because she knows how to shut the fluck up. And you know why I can say that about my wife? Because I know how to shut the fluck up. We give that respect to each other. One hand washes the other. When my wife comes home, and if she has something to tell me about her day, I shut the fluck up and listen. If my wife comes home and she's concerned about something, I shut the fluck up and listen. My wife mainly handles the kids in terms of like picking them up from like daycare and stuff, just because I normally work late, so I'm not able to pick them up. If my wife has something to tell me about the kids and I was not there and I have no knowledge, it is my job to shut the fuck up and listen, because what she has to say is important. Vice versa. If I have something to say to my wife that is important, she knows how to shut the fuck up and listen. If I have an issue with something my wife did, she knows how to shut the fuck up and let me talk and come to a solution or get across my point so we can come to a solution. That's why I love her. She gives me that respect and I give it to her right back. In America, we do not know how to shut the fuck up and listen. One way to grow is to listen, not overtalk people or ignore people because you want to hear your voice over everybody else's. No, you shut up and you listen. That's why, bro, it is so hard for me to watch political debates, because the candidates do not know how to shut the fuck up and let the other candidate talk. If I was on a debate stage, I will give my opponent enough grace to finish a point. Because what if I thought they thought a certain way and I constantly interrupted them and they wanted to say, I actually don't think that way. This is my real opinion. I look like an idiot. Mark Minard, I am sorry. You seem like a good dude and God blesses to you. Salute to you on your faith journey. Now, I hope you keep walking with God. But brother, learn how to shut the fuck up, especially when it comes to Christianity. And there are certain people who have been in the faith longer than you. It can help you with your journey and give you certain tools and tips and just leadership and mentorship. When it comes to that, shut up and listen, bro. Like, we all have to learn that. Like, that is one thing with my kids, like especially my oldest, because she can walk, talk, she 3. One thing that we do not tolerate with her, if my wife and I are having a conversation, if my little lady Scoots walks into the room and interrupts our conversation, she's in trouble. 2 grown people are talking. It is not your place to walk in a room and interrupt us while we talking. And what you got to say ain't even important. Now, that's one thing if she was on fire or she swallowed a nail or something crazy. Okay, that's different. But you know what I mean. If me and my wife and I are talking and you just want some cookies and you run in the room and interrupt us because you want some cookies, she gets in trouble for that, because we are trying to teach her to be respectful and to learn your place. There is a place to talk. There is a place to shut the fuck up and listen. My parents were sticklers on that with me. That's one of the principles they grounded in me. I couldn't back talk my parents when it came to certain things. And there were certain times it wasn't my time to speak at all. I should sit there and listen. I think that's another problem with relationships in this day and age when it comes to men and women. I am not no relationship guru. I don't try to touch on relationships on this podcast because I'm not an expert. Like, I was blessed to be with my wife, but I had loads of failed relationships before her. So I'm not the perfect person. But I think a lot of these relationships today between men and women fail because both sides don't know how to shut the fuck up and listen. And at least, even if you're not trying to hear what that person say, at least pretend. At least pretend like you listening. At least shut up and pretend like you listening so you can get them to stop talking. That's a gem. You arguing with your person and you want to get them to be quiet, you be quiet. I don't do that with my wife. I don't do that with my wife. But that's a hidden gem. We have to learn how to listen and know our place. Like, I cut hair and I'm pretty decent at it. But there is still a lot of stuff I have to learn in terms of, I say this. Most of my clientele is African American. They black because I'm black. And that's what I would say, not expertise is, but that's what I'm the best at in terms of cutting hair is black people. I learned how to cut hair, cutting my own hair. I'm black, so it makes sense. When it comes to other ethnic groups and hair, I'm okay at it, but there is still a lot I need to learn when it comes to that, especially when it comes to, where my shears at? Oh, right here. When it comes to shears, these are shears. These are shears right here. I'm horrible at shears. Like, I'm terrible. When it comes to doing shears, I am bad. Now, when it comes to like just, cleaning up a haircut and all that, I'm pretty solid at that. But in terms of doing a basic haircut on a white man, I'm terrible at shears. It's one thing I want to learn and get better at. If I had a barber OG come down to my setup in my station and just want to teach me because I reached out, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to shut the fuck up and listen. When I have questions, I will ask them at the appropriate time. But if the barber OG that's with me is showing me certain things, certain techniques, how to part the hair, how to put the hair in sections, how to hold my shears, if he is showing me that, it's time to shut up and listen. I will never grow. I will never learn. I will never be. Let me, just to give an example. Hold on. Rock with me. When it comes to fades, tapers, mohawks, high top fades, low fades, mid fades, burst tapers, whatever, I'm pretty beastie with these. These are clippers. I'm pretty beastie with these. Not gonna lie. I'm not the greatest, but I'm straight with these. When it comes to giving linings, I'm pretty solid. I'm pretty good with these. When it comes to giving designs, I'm actually alright at that too. I ain't the greatest, but I can give you a decent design if you ask for one. But when it comes to these, I am not the greatest. So if somebody volunteered their time to show me the right way to use these, I will shut the fuck up and listen and not waste that person's time. And I feel like Mark, when he did that interview or that debate, he kind of wasted our time. Now, don't get me wrong, some good points were made and Wes was able to, get Billy on some points. But I feel like Wes really couldn't go where he wanted to because Mark just couldn't shut up. And like I said, grace to Mark. But the overarching theme is people. We have to shut up and learn how to shut up and listen. And the most important person, he ain't a person, but the most who we need to learn how to shut up to and listen to the most is God. I feel like God, first of all, he's omnipotent. He's sovereign, so God can do what he wants. But I feel like a lot of people are missing out on blessings and instruction in their life because they just not simply shutting up and listening. And I feel like America, Earth, when we learn how to shut up and listen to one another and not judge one another and think our opinions are better, when we learn how to shut up and listen to each other, this world will be a better place. I firmly believe that, and I'm trying to get better with that every day. Somebody comes to me and has something to tell me, I'm going to shut the fluck up and listen. Period. So y'all take it easy. I think I got off what I needed to say. And Mark Minard again, like, hear my heart. Salute to what you're doing. Like, that's what's up, what you're doing. You know, having a company that caters to people with developmental issues and disabilities, like, that's dope. And salute to you as a father, all of that. That's dope stuff. And like I said, best of luck to you in your faith journey. But my little piece of advice is, if you're with somebody who can give you good info, bro, just take that time to just be quiet and listen. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna sip this tea because my throat kind of hurt. But I wish y'all, like, have a good week. Finish out the week strong. Y'all have a good weekend too, man. The holidays are coming, so I hope y'all able to get the gifts y'all want. And do things with your families. Just being transparent, man, in terms of, like, my family, like my immediate family. Like, we not on the best terms right now, but I still love them and definitely hope that, that situation will be fixed. But just know, like, my household is straight. My kids is straight. My wife's straight, and it's a blessing. So I just pray to God that he keeps moving us through. But I want y'all to stay smooth, keep up with the channel. I'm trying to get some interviews in the works right now, potentially one in the Shy. I don't know. I'm speaking to, I'm not going to give the name away, but I'm speaking to a guy right now. Hopefully we can get that done. But y'all stay smooth, and God bless all of y'all. This is Cut Talk. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.